and claim a Galaxy Tab A9 Plus worth £259 when you buy it today. Search 3 or head in-store today. Life needs a big network.
Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo. The site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. That's luckycowbingo.com/bingo.
We know travel can be confusing, so let us inspire you. Welcome to Qatar. Experience it all. World-class hospitality, diverse landscapes from city to sea, and fly there with the Airline of the Year 2022, Qatar Airways. Book now at travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. Travel Up, flights, hotels, holidays.
दावत जब दिल में थोड़ी बेकरारी और ढेर सारा प्यार हो, कुछ खास करने का अरमान हो, किसी अपने के आने का पैगाम हो, जब केसर ज़ाफ़रान से ज्यादा छोटी छोटी कोशिशों से घर महका हो, मेज पर खाने से ज्यादा बनाने वाले का दिल सजा हो, जब मेहमान नवाजी में कोई कसर बाकी ना हो, तब जान लो घर में आज दावत है। दावत, ब्रिंग आउट योर फाइनेस्ट।
Thanks for staying with NDTV. You're watching The World Report with me, Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. We begin our Wednesday edition with some breaking news from the US. Viewers, billionaire Elon Musk has backed down from his raging fight against President Donald Trump. In fact, Musk has posted on his social media platform X, expressing regret about some of his posts regarding United States President Donald Trump only last week. He said, and I'm quoting here, "I regret some of my posts about President Donald Trump last week. They went too far." Elon Musk posted on X just moments ago. Meanwhile, Musk and Trump engaged in a public feud over TV interviews and social media X posts after the Tesla and SpaceX billionaire CEO left his role in the government and criticized the Republican Party's new proposed tax bill. My colleague Gauri Dwivedi joins us for the latest on this. Gauri, is this a simple case of a change of heart, or is there something more at play with around $40 billion on the line?
Billions of dollars are indeed on the line, Arjun, and Elon Musk has finally accepted the fact that some of his tweets did go too far because the questions were raised not just about Trump as a president, but also Trump's character and conduct in the past as well, when he referred to Trump being in the Jeffrey Epstein file. So that is a very serious allegation, something that did evoke a very sharp and a strong response from the Trump camp, and that tells you that how quickly this spat became so bitter, so personal, and so ugly. Now there is an olive branch that Elon Musk has extended, but we still don't know whether President Trump has taken it or will accept that or not. If he does, then that will mean the end of this really bitter fallout, but still early days to say, because in the last couple of days back, Elon Musk did express an interest to have a phone call, something that was turned down by the president himself when he responded to reporters saying that he's not going to entertain any phone call with Elon Musk. So it's still early days to see whether this olive branch will be accepted, but what I can say is that there are indeed billions of dollars at stake for Elon Musk, whether it's the electric vehicle business or some of his other business prospects as well. There's a reason why $100 billion was wiped off from his net worth and from Tesla, because the shareholders saw through this spat being erosion of value. So that really remains to be seen.
Thank you so much for unpacking the latest for our viewers there, Gauri. Now on to our top focus on this Wednesday edition of the World Report. Viewers, a Pakistani suspect has been extradited from Canada to the United States on Tuesday. Why? To face charges for plotting to carry out an attack on Jews in New York City, the Justice Department has said. 20-year-old Mohammad Shahzeb Khan, also known as Shahzeb Jadoon, was arrested in Canada in September last year. Viewers, according to a criminal complaint, Khan planned to travel to New York and carry out a mass shooting in support of the Islamic State at a Jewish center in Brooklyn on the 7th of October, anniversary of the deadly 2023 Hamas attack on Israel. Let's cut to my colleague Gauri Dwivedi once again, who's got the latest for us.
Arjun, the fact is, this is something that India has all along been saying, which is that Pakistan is a global terror threat, not just for India, but for the world. There have been several instances as early as August 2024 when Pakistanis have been deported, held in the US on very serious terror plots, and this is no exception. But in the backdrop of, despite these repeated such instances coming to light, and India's insistence that Pakistan should be blacklisted, should not be on any of those UN sanctioned committees, the Trump administration is actually lauding the Pakistani leadership, which brings us to ask the question that is there a complete disconnect, or is it because of commercial interests that the Trump administration, which many feel the family of the president tied to Pakistan through some crypto interests, is the reason why Pakistani leadership is being lauded by President Trump instead of being called out that here is a country which exports terror, and US is also at the receiving end of it. It's not just India, and that I think is the larger question that the Trump administration needs to now be held accountable for.
Well, pertinent question you raised there, Gauri, and thank you so much for unpacking that for our viewers. Moving on. The National Guard troops began protecting immigration agents as they made arrests in Los Angeles, an expansion of their duties that had been in fact limited to protecting federal property. On Tuesday, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass issued a curfew for the city's downtown area following several days of intense protests against ICE raids that also saw clashes between demonstrators and law enforcement. Viewers, as you see on your screens right now, widespread vandalism and some looting as well, particularly during the late night and early morning hours. Meanwhile, California Governor Gavin Newsom has condemned President Trump's deployment of the military in Los Angeles, and he's called it a brazen abuse of power in a televised speech. Listen in to the war of words that has in fact erupted.
Within the span of a few decades, Los Angeles has gone from being one of the cleanest, safest, and most beautiful cities on earth to being a trash heap with entire neighborhoods under the control of transnational gangs and criminal networks. It's horrible what's happened so quickly. As the entire world can now see, uncontrolled migration leads to chaos, dysfunction, and disorder. And you know what? They have it in Europe too. It's happening in many of the countries of Europe. They don't like it when I say it, but I'll say it loudly and clearly. They better do something before it's too late. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again. It's happening very quickly.
Donald Trump, without consulting California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets, illegally and for no reason. This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation, putting our people, our officers, and even our National Guard at risk.
And here's a very special report by my colleague Vishal Vivek, who unpacks the story for you.
Local authorities have been repeatedly saying that they have the power and the bandwidth to manage the situation. They don't need federal agencies and federal task forces there. They don't need Marines in place that can only make the situation worse, is what they're saying. But this Trump versus Newsom fight is not, backing down. This is continuing. Statements are being filed, and a lawsuit has also been filed. So the situation on the ground remains tense, but it's scattered protests now as we speak. There have been lootings, yes, but they have been in many places which are scattered. It's not concentrated in one place. So the situation is simmering, but it's sort of better than before. But more than 400 arrests have been made. So the situation continues to simmer. There are tensions on the ground. Troop deployments are continuing to come in. So it doesn't seem likely to stop anytime soon. It all boils down to what Trump will do next and what Newsom decides to do in counter to that.
US President Donald Trump warned people on Tuesday against protesting at the weekend military parade in Washington, marking the US Army's 250th anniversary. Now, the event on Saturday marks the 250th anniversary of the US Army and coincides, in fact, with Trump's 79th birthday. That's correct. The day will feature an army festival on the National Mall, a military parade sorts through the capital, and a mass enlistment and re-enlistment ceremony led by the US President himself. Law enforcement is preparing for massive crowds. According to US Secret Service special agents in charge, Matt McCool, thousands of personnel from federal and local agencies will also be deployed. Meanwhile, at least 9 permits have been issued for protests on that day. Both the FBI and the Metropolitan Police said that there have been no credible threats as of now. And for the 5th time, SpaceX's Axiom 4 mission that will carry India's second astronaut Subhanshu Shukla to space has been postponed. In a post on social media platform X, SpaceX said the mission to the International Space Station was deferred again due to a technical glitch, a LOX leak or an oxygen leak as they're calling it, in its Falcon 9 rocket, viewers, that is being used for this launch. The new date for the launch is yet to be decided. Group Captain Shukla will be the first Indian to fly to the ISS under the private astronaut mission that will launch on board a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule on a Falcon 9 rocket from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. After 2 days of intense negotiations in London, US and China have reached an agreement to put their trade truce back on track and also remove China's export restrictions on rare earths. It's a deal which is now awaiting a nod from the leaders of the two countries. US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told reporters that the agreement reached in London would in fact remove some of the recent US export restrictions, but did not provide details of the same. While his Chinese counterpart, Vice Commerce Minister Li Shenggang, also said a trade framework had been reached in principle that would in fact be taken back to the US and Chinese leaders. Listen in to what the site said.
Over the last couple of days, the two teams had very in-depth exchange.
我们的沟通是非常专业、理性、深入、坦诚的。
Our communication has been very professional, rational, in-depth, and candid.
双方原则上就落实两国元首6月5号通话共识以及日内瓦会谈共识达成了框架。
The two sides agreed in principle the framework for implementing the consensus of the two heads of state in their phone call on the 5th of June, as well as the consensus of the meeting in Geneva.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Tuesday called on the European Union to view the conflict with Pakistan as India versus Terroristan. This as he highlighted India's zero-tolerance stance on terrorism. During a joint press conference with EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy in Brussels, in fact, Jaishankar was asked about the India-Pakistan conflict in the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack. Listen in to his response.
Finally, it's about India-Pakistan conflict. I would say, will the EU take any initiatives about that to resolve the conflict at peaceful way?
I'd like you to understand, this is not a conflict between two states per se. This is actually a response to the threat and to the practice of terrorism. So I would urge you to make it, don't think of it as India-Pakistan, think of it as India-Terroristan. You will then appreciate it.
And in fresh trouble for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's government, the UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Norway have sanctioned, in fact, on two Israeli government ministers, Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, for inciting violence against Palestinians in their campaign to gain control of the new settlements in the West Bank. Ben-Gvir, the security minister in Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition government, and Smotrich, the finance minister, in fact, will face travel bans and have any assets in these 5 countries frozen, stressing that they were being sanctioned in a personal capacity with no restrictions on the ministries they lead. Netanyahu has promised to retaliate. Meanwhile, listen into what Australia's PM Anthony Albanese had to say on the matter.
What we've done here is make a specific decision based upon the positions that have been put forward by these two Israeli ministers, based upon our concerns about the expansion of settlements in West Bank, based upon our concerns about violence in the area being promoted, including by the actions and rhetoric of these ministers.
Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro denied involvement in an alleged plot to overthrow the country's current president, Luiz Ignacio de Silva, and remain in power. Along with 7 co-conspirators, the 70-year-old former president is standing trial over the events which led to the storming of the government buildings by its supporters on the 8th of January 2023. That's a week after Lula's inauguration. Viewers facing charges that could in fact bring decades behind bars. Appearing before the Supreme Court for the first time on Tuesday, Bolsonaro, who ruled the country between 2019 and 2022, said a coup was a abominable thing and that there was never even a possibility of a coup in my government. Here's more.
Só tem uma coisa a afirmar a Vossa Excelência. Da minha parte, por parte de comandantes militares ou do Estado do meu lado, nunca se falou em golpe. Golpe é uma coisa abominável. O golpe até seria fácil começar. O after day que é simplesmente imprevisível e danoso para todo mundo. O Brasil não poderia passar por uma experiência dessa. E não foi sequer cogitado essa hipótese de golpe no meu governo.
Miguel Uribe, a conservative Colombian presidential hopeful shot in the head from a close range during a rally over the weekend, remains in critical condition Tuesday. Uribe Turbe was attacked in a park in the Fontibon neighborhood when armed assailants shot him from behind, according to his Conservative Democratic Center party, which also released a statement calling it an unacceptable act of violence. Uribe's wife, Maria Claudia Tarazona, has said that her husband was still fighting for his life, stressing, in fact, that the violent situation which her family is going through is a shared experience with all Colombians. In the neighborhood, Argentina's Supreme Court has upheld the 6-year prison sentence on corruption charges for former President Cristina Fernández de Kirchner. The court ruling disqualifies the leader of South American country's opposition movement, also known as Peronism, from holding public office. It left Fernández, one of Argentina's most important political figures of the past 2 decades, at the brink of an arrest by authorities. She governed for 8 years after succeeding her husband in 2007. Under her watch, in fact, Argentina became notorious for its unbridled state spending and massive budget deficits.
Cuando fui a declarar durante más de 3 o 4 horas, en lo cual puse todos los puntos sobre las IES, sostuve antes de levantarme que la sentencia ya estaba escrita y no me equivocaba, desgraciadamente.
Thousands of people in Austria have held a candlelight vigil for the victims of the school shooting in which 10 people were killed. A former school student opened fire at the school in Austria's second biggest city on Tuesday, injuring many others. Police said the 21-year-old suspect, a former student, took his own life in the school bathroom shortly after the gun attack in Graz on Tuesday, the deadliest in the country's recent history. There was no immediate information on the motive of the 21-year-old man who had no previous criminal record. Human-caused climate change has raised temperatures in Iceland and Greenland by several degrees during a record-setting May heat wave, raising concerns about far-reaching implications on melting Arctic ice has for weather around the world. Scientists said in an analysis, in fact, released Wednesday, Greenland ice sheets melted many times faster than normal during the heat wave, while parts of Iceland saw temperatures more than 10 degrees Celsius above average. Iceland, in fact, set a new record for its warmest temperature in May when the airport hit 26.6 degrees on the 15th of May. The Arctic is one of the fastest warming places on Earth. Here's more.
So what we found by looking at this extreme heat, particularly over Iceland, but we also looked over parts of Greenland, that it was an absolute record-breaking event. So it was much hotter than May has ever been in Iceland. At least, so it was the hottest 1 week that Iceland has ever had in May.
Well, it's time we slip into a short break. Much more on the other side.
Hiya. Americano, please. Your house blend. Splash of oat milk.
Are you going to do this every time?
Nescafe Azera Americano.
So you're paying contactless or?
Irresistibly smooth barista-style coffee at home.
Oh, wasn't he lovely? That young man at Avanti Travel Insurance.
Yeah, very.
He was so reassuring. They covered all our medical conditions, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Your diabetes, my dodgy hip.
And the rest.
Even at your age, love. Love?
Oh, great.
Oh, love.
Avanti Travel Insurance cover most pre-existing health conditions for all ages. That's travel reassurance. Call or go online.
I knew I should have got the flamingo.
At Direct Line, we know that for multi-property landlords, sometimes the tiniest of things can turn into way bigger problems. From niggly contract issues to keeping up with ever-changing legislation. That's why Direct Line's landlord insurance offers a 24/7 legal helpline as standard. Because a call with someone could help to make the hairiest of problems feel that little bit smoother. Search Direct Line Landlord Insurance. We're on it.
One moment you're queuing up for stamps and the next...
Seriously?
You're a millionaire. Get yourself in the draw. Lotto, will you be the next millionaire?
Not all Sims are created equal. So here on the UK's best network, we've made one to meet the needs of families at home or on holiday. You'll get unlimited data, but we've made it shareable. That way you can always stay connected with the family when they need it most. Going away? You'll get 50 gigabytes of EU data roaming included so you can find the sites without a worry. And we've made that shareable too, all for just £24 a month. It's no wonder families choose EE. Offer ends 30th of June.
Someone's happy. Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo. The site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. 75 ball bingo. Even 90 ball bingo. Fill your bingo boots today. Get that lucky cow feeling at luckycowbingo.com/bingo or download the Lucky Cow Android app from the Play Store.
We know travel can be confusing, so let us inspire you. Welcome to Qatar. Experience it all. World-class hospitality, diverse landscapes from city to sea, and fly there with the Airline of the Year 2022, Qatar Airways. Book now at travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. Travel Up, flights, hotels, holidays.
Welcome back. You're watching The World Report on NDTV. Now some updates from the world of business, where the World Bank has cut its forecast for the global growth this year and has also warned, in fact, that 2020s are on the track for the weakest performance for any decades since the first Apollo moon landing because of trade tensions and policy uncertainty. Boeing heads into the Paris Air Show after a blockbuster May that included booking 303 new orders and rolling out 38 new 737 MAX jets, a production rate it has been working to reach for more than 1 year. Now, according to the company data, the company also delivered 45 aircraft just last month, it said Tuesday. It was the 6th highest monthly order tally in Boeing's history. Paramount Global told employees that it would be reducing its workforce by 3.5%, with several hundred employees to be impacted in the latest round of layoffs at the media company. Now, this comes as it contends, in fact, with the decline of the traditional pay TV bundle and macroeconomic headwinds. The company notified its staff of the impending layoffs on Tuesday. The layoffs also come as Paramount has been in the process of seeking regulatory approval for its proposed merger with Skydance Media, which has been held up by a legal battle between the company's owned CBS and the Trump administration over a 60 minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris. In the world of sports, Samar had a comfortable straight set win over Spain's Cristina Buxa and was only one of 3 Britons to reach the second round of the WTA 500 tournament at the Queen's Club on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Wimbledon champion Barbora Krejcikova crashed out. Buxa has won their only previous meeting in the first round of this year's Singapore Open. But this time, the Spaniard was no match for the 22-year-old wildcard, and Raducanu strolled to a 6-1, 6-2 win. Update from the entertainment world, where Kaby Lame, the world's most popular TikTok personality with millions of followers, has left the US after being detained by immigration agents in Las Vegas for allegedly overstaying his visa. That's correct. The Senegalese-Italian influencer, whose legal name is Seringue Cabernet Lame, was in fact detained Friday but was allowed to leave the country without a deportation order. A spokesperson for the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirmed in a statement. Now, his detainment and voluntary departure from the US come amid President Donald Trump's escalating crackdown on immigration. And a human-sized Labubu doll fetched a whopping $150,000 at an auction where? In China's Beijing, viewers, in a testament to the popularity of the collectible toy flaunted by celebrities. The one-of-a-kind mint green Labubu, a monster character created by Hong Kong-born artist Kaising Lung, went under the hammer at China's Yongle auction house on Tuesday, along with 47 other Labubu collectible items. PopMart International Group Limited, in fact, the Beijing-based maker of the toothy monster dolls, has seen its share surge more than 180% only this year amid the craze for its soft toys seen carried by the likes of Rihanna and Blackpink's Lisa. Labubu fans are known to brave long queues and often ready to pay inflated prices to get their favorite toy. Well, that's all we have for you on this Wednesday edition. Take care and have a wonderful day.
It's pandemonium, it's pandalicious, it's pantastic. It's the world of Panda Bingo.
I like to make a cup of tea, get settled on the sofa and play Panda Bingo. It's like a little bit of me time. Well, me and the pandas.
Whether I'm out and about on my mobile or just at home on the laptop, I can play my favourite Panda Bingo games anytime, anywhere. I just love it.
Brilliant bingo rooms, great games, out of this world offers. Join today at pandabingo.com/bingo.
Air fryer. It fries using air.
Everybody's looking for that something.
Britain, what you buy is your business. Helping you pay less interest is ours.
You know how much that means. You found that special thing.
Air fryer.
You're flying with that wind.
Barclaycard. Make money work for you.
With 3, save £336 on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And claim a Galaxy Tab A9 Plus worth £259 when you buy today. Search 3 or head in-store today. Life needs a big network.
Family life. It's made of ups and downs. And those little moments. But should the unthinkable happen to you? Life insurance from Legal & General can help look after monthly bills, the roof over their heads, childcare costs, and most importantly, your family. Because no one protects more families in the UK than us. Premiums start from £5 a month and they never rise. Plus there's a £100 gift card after you apply. Legal & General. Ensure life goes on.
Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo. The site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. That's luckycowbingo.com/bingo.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
I bought cars on finance, so I've made my claim.
If our lenders charge hidden commissions, then I've made my claim.
I could be on thousands.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim. It's so quick and simple.
You could be owed thousands in hidden commissions from vehicles bought on finance since 2007, even without the details.
I've made my claim.
Trust myclaimgroup.co.uk.
Claims made simple.
जब मेहमान नवाजी में कोई कसर बाकी ना हो, तब जान लो घर में आज दावत है. Dawat. Bring out your finest.
Boman Irani, your acting career begins at a very young age of 41. And so usse pehle it was photography. You had captured India through the lens of a photographer, and then you worked in the hospitality sector as well. Before that. So while you were, dabbling between so many roles, which one is it, and when was it that you realized that it is acting?
I think when I was very young, my love was always cinema, actually. I used to watch all kinds of movies even at a very young age. Very young, and a lot of people used to wonder why I would watch movies that were not part of my pay grade. Why am I watching these kind of movies? Not because they were adult or they were, I just loved the movies. And my mother encouraged me to watch movies. I understood the world, humanity, the human condition, art, music, drama, lyrics, everything. Lighting, I love lighting. So my thing was I always wanted to be a director, actually. Strangely. I never saw myself in movies, but I love to act. But just chronologically to take you through it all, I started in the hospitality business. I was a waiter at the Taj for a couple of years. And then I worked at a family wafer shop for 14 years. Then took up photography. While I was halfway through my photography career over the weekend, I did theater. And then beckoning happened through the film industry. So that's the chronological thing. But my heart was always to stand behind the camera and boss people.
And you boss people, that's a nice one. But you are somebody like, who's a natural actor, Mr. Irani. You are like...
Boman.
Boman. You are somebody who's very, almost perfectly natural for an actor.
Sachmuch. Chalo, theek hai. I feel that, thank you, but I feel that natural acting comes from repetition. And repetition. Your script, the spoken word, behavior, your action, what is it you want, what is it you are doing in the film, has to do with actually reflection of who you are, what the character is, and knowing your lines. Because the moment you're searching for lines, your mind, your eyes are somewhere else. Even if they're looking straight, the eyes are going somewhere else. The great Spencer Tracy says always to advise to young actors, learn your lines, hit your marks, and don't bump into the furniture. And that means so much, because the naturality that you say, and I'm grateful for that, comes from practice. Because if you don't know your craft, you will never be able to be truthful. First, you put everything into that moment, and then allow yourself to be truthful. It is the truthfulness that looks natural, not the chabana, chai pina. That's not exactly what natural acting is supposed to be. Natural acting is being comfortable in the skin of the character.
So it's like practice makes the man perfect.
I think it should be part of your DNA.
Yeah.
It should be part of your DNA.
to Sachin Pilot after both Sachin Pilot and Gehlot buried the hatchet and have said that they are on friendly terms. Sachin Pilot has spoken exclusively to NDTV and said that we are united and the future is in unity of both sides. Take a look.
So does this signal the big thaw in Rajasthan politics? I have with me Mr. Sachin Pilot, and at the commemoration of the 25th anniversary of his father's death anniversary, Ashok Gehlot and in fact the entire Congress top brass was there. Sachin ji, you know, there's been a lot of talk about the factionalism in the Congress, the acrimonious relationship and the fact that there were two groups in the Congress. Today we saw everybody on the same stage, and I spoke to some Karyakartas and they said this really is the way forward for the Congress.
Let me first tell you, there has absolutely been no two groups in the Congress party. If anybody had any difference of opinion, we had multiple chances. All of us sat down together and figured out how to move forward. We fought our elections in 2023. We didn't win the polls, but we did fairly well. We had a very good performance, unlike the last times where we reduced to 20 seats out of 200. This time we got 70 odd seats. So our performance wasn't that bad, even though we didn't win the election. It has been the endeavor of everybody, especially the Congress President, Rahul Gandhi ji, everyone, that these are times that are challenging for the country, for the party. We have to be united to take on the BJP. That's something that everybody understands. And Rajasthan, I can tell you with all the authority at my command, that we have always been a united force. And moving forward,